Welcome back to the Nethercast. I am Cyborg, and I am joined, as always, by Temp, Razor, and Chad. And yeah, so we finally got our first look at Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay just a few hours ago. We did a whole live stream on that, and now we're back for some more in-depth discussion after it's kind of settled a bit. We've seen what everybody else has been saying, and the grind continues. A good grind, but a grind nonetheless. And if you are just tuning in for the first time, this is a Mortal Kombat podcast called the Nethercast. We've been doing this for about 9 years now. And yeah, we've been doing this since the lead up to Mortal Kombat X. And this is comprised of Mortal Kombat fans that have been fans for around 30 years and active online in the community, the Mortal Kombat community, since the 2000s. So 2001 for me, and all the others in the early to mid 2000s as well. So, yeah. Anyways, tons of stuff to break down and talk about. We're here to chat with all of you and see what everybody else is saying. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already and you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And you can follow us on Twitter. All of our Twitters are there on the screen, as well as join our Discord community. And subscribe if you haven't already. Oh boy, it's been a day of content creation and talking, and it's been crazy. Hopefully everybody recovered for over the last few hours, got in some rest. It's been a lot, because I know I haven't, but but I'm here for it. It's like Christmas. It's like the Super Bowl. I don't know. We're here for a good time. Let us know if any of the audio is off for some reason. Things get switched around as we go along. But yeah, we're going to go through the trailer again and, talk about various things and see what everybody's wanting to talk about. We'll try and stick to the chat and see what everybody wants us to talk about. Any super chats, of course, we'll definitely answer those and try and discuss anything you guys want to discuss in that regard. But beyond that, we'll try to stay on top of the chat to see what everybody's saying and wants to hear us talk about.
Howdy.
Welcome. We've started, just FYI. Yeah.
Damn. Really anxious, aren't you?
Well, it's 5.
It was scheduled to go live. Yeah. You can't, once you set the time, you can't really do anything about that.
Fair enough.
Anyways, not a big deal. We just started a couple minutes ago, so like I said, no biggie by any means. Just figured we get the ball rolling, not keep anybody waiting, and yeah, just got rid through the introduction more than anything. Just kind of laying the groundwork as I usually do. So Shad, we haven't heard anything from you, so why don't you kick us off? How are you feeling about everything you've seen so far, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Cautiously, optimistically cautious. Very. There's a lot of things that I really, really did enjoy about this trailer. There's a lot that I found really weird, and there's one or two things I found questionable to abhorrent.
Interesting.
So, the gameplay, to me, seems like kind of a faster version of MK11 is the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely does seem to have opened the ground for like more combos, faster action, and that's pretty awesome. So, that's probably my biggest positive takeaway is that they heard the complaints about the gameplay and how toned down combos had been in 11, and they seem to have actually gone out of their way to maybe do something about that. So that's really neat.
Right.
I haven't seen any of Ed's presentation. I got back home about an hour ago. I had time to sit down and actually watch the trailer properly on my PC and not in my work toilet on my phone like I did when it debuted earlier today.
Right.
So if he talked about anything specific, I didn't get the chance to hear him talk. But the other really great, amazing thing I've noticed is that the stages look absolutely incredible.
Yes.
They all look fantastic.
Cameos aside, which is probably one of the coolest things that was in the trailer, the stages were absolutely the things that I have nothing but the best things to say about. They blew me away. I don't think this is recency bias or anything, or just buying into the hype. These could be the best stages we've ever seen. They look absolutely stunningly beautiful. The amount of depth, to see the mountains in the background, I'm gonna actually switch. If you're following along on YouTube, I'm gonna switch the screen here. I have the and those of you on the show with me, Temp Razor Shad, of course, you can on Discord look at my screen because I'm gonna share that. But I'm gonna go through some bits of the trailer just so we can kind of talk about them and have a visual aid, as I know some people appreciate. So let's do that real quick. But yeah, so like the mountains in the background on this stage, the Wuxi Academy or whatever you want to call this, the Shaolin.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the Wuxi Academy. It's straight up back from the 3D era, and I'm so happy to see it back. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it looks just amazing. What have I been saying? I want the cherry blossoms. I want the pagodas. I want like those old temple, like the Asian aesthetic designs. You got that in spades in the background. You get the mountains, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Like that's a huge upgrade. That looks beautiful. The giant statues holding, the ropes, like you said. So this is from Deadly Alliance, but it's just a highly detailed version. It just looks absolutely beautiful. So the stages, especially like this stage, looks phenomenal.
I was wondering about that one. Like, you think that's the Fire Gardens? That last one?
This one right here.
Sure. Yeah, like I'm not exactly 100% certain where this is. I don't know. There's rubble strewn around. Maybe an attack or something took place. I'm not too sure. Razor, what do you think?
I was wondering if it wasn't maybe like a look at this universe's version of Shang's courtyard or something, like whatever they did with the island in the absence of a Shang Tsung, like maybe it's a much nicer place.
Yeah, I can get some of those vibes. I was kind of thinking the same thing.
It could be another part of the Shaolin Temple, or it could be the Fire Gardens. It's hard to say.
It's really it is. Although I think the Shang's actually no, it looks, if that's the same place, it really looks like it's, I don't know, a town perhaps at the base. I can't tell. Maybe it's Hanzo's town, or if he is still called Hanzo. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be a ninja village.
It feels a little bit like a rural area.
Right.
Yeah.
And then of course you got Johnny's like penthouse or mansion in LA. It looks like right along the beach, Venice Beach, Santa Monica, all that area. Like that just looks amazing. And what we've seen is there's day and night versions for some of these stages. I know you mentioned you didn't see the stream itself, like the actual presentation that followed the trailer. We see a little bit
talking about that, but like,
yeah, we see a little bit. We see like the select screen, we see the Kameo select screen, we see the arena select screen, and of course, none of them are like filled out. They just have the characters that we see, some of them and whatnot. So there's a lot of blank spots still left. But what you do see on the arena select screen is a toggle for day and night. So we've seen a day and night version of this. There was a night version in the screenshots that went out. I put those up on Twitter. There's a night version of this where the sun is like down behind the cities and it's just more of a night sky back here. So that looked good. We see a night and day version of the tea house. We see a night version here, and then we see like a day version later on in the trailer.
Yeah, the tea house looks pretty great too.
This looks like the living forest here.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because this has a lot of potential to be really awesome. Like, obviously we know what we want the nighttime version of this to look like, right?
Right.
It's interesting. Like it feels like the trees are maybe, I don't know, asleep or dormant, especially that guy on the right.
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing the nighttime version of this so badly.
Yeah, it could get really spooky or something, almost like a Yin Yang Island scenario. Or this is just the living forest that's more of just peaceful and never gets corrupted by, Outworld Shao Kahn and all that stuff going on.
That would be so strange to me to have a peaceful living forest. Why not just have it be the Laughing Forest? No, I'm kidding. But
because the Laughing Forest was even scarier than the
a little Malibu Comics reference for you folks out there. But man, imagine a non-hostile living forest. How strange would that be? But continue.
Yeah, and then there was the beautiful one that was like, okay, so here's Adinia. Obviously looks amazing. I love this. It's just, gosh, these stages, man. There was not one bad stage shown off. Like there was not one that I'm like, this is kind of lame, or this is boring. Like they all to me look exactly the kind of stuff that I've been asking for. Like this is just tremendous.
I really love Johnny's gigantic, hideous pink flamingo floater. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I like that too.
It's the detail that really sticks out to me.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
you can see like Johnny
Yeah,
having
yeah,
it customized, and it just fits him.
his pool inner tube.
the flamingo, the duck with sunglasses. Yeah, this is
Oh shit! I missed that. Wonderful.
yeah.
Oh,
Somebody was
delightful.
mentioning in our Discord
Delightful.
earlier that this has to have a stage fatal, and I said it'd be cool if you knock him into the pool and like it's on a cliffside or something, and then he says this is where you fall down and then you fall off the cliff. That would be tight.
You know what? I want him to hit them into the flamingo, and they get like stuck at an uncomfortable angle, and they just kind of drown upside down,
Oh god.
like
That'd
their
be
ass
fun.
sticking out of the flamingo. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Something we've all probably experienced where you're like, oh god, the flotation device is actively killing me. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, this is just it's I love so much about it. The stages, chief among them, just looks so good to me. I'm okay, well there's the stages. So you mentioned some things that you were concerned about. What aspects are you concerned about?
But before we get there, I want to like just go over a couple of more things I found to be actually really, really.
Okay,
fucking
here's
cool.
the other stage we didn't show off
Yeah,
yet, but
this.
this is beautiful. This is so cool.
Okay, like you can't tell me this isn't Outworld, but with fireworks going off. Again, like how messed up is that? It is
See,
so
the-
strange.
If it's not Outworld, it looks like Adinia maybe. This almost looks like the docks that we see in the trailer where Shang kills Kitana, because you can kind of see the palace up here, up at the top
Maybe.
left. The purple could be deceiving. It could be the fireworks are going off and giving a purple like glow. We have the lanterns. But I
It's
mean,
really hard
either
to, like,
way, it looks
determine, like,
amazing.
what the entire like circumstances surrounding Adinia and Outworld even are in this version of the universe,
Right.
whatever that could be.
The night sky with the stars. Gosh, this is perfect. All the floating lanterns in the background. It's just beautiful, man.
It's pleasant combat.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so strange. The living forest trees are all a snooze and they're peaceful. We have fireworks, no wastelands here. It's you know, it's strange to me because those twisted elements of Mortal Kombat's atmosphere were always what made up a huge part of its like visual and design appeal to me.
Right.
So without that, I'm like kind of flabbergasted. I'm kind of
Well,
you know.
What I think is most interesting is like even with the story stuff, the whole trailer is showing like Liu Kang putting the team together, but we don't know why. There's not a single hint of a villain.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Which I
like,
think our only
there's-
hint towards a villain was that thing in the original announcement trailer, the
Yeah,
giant
with
eclipse in the
Shang.
sky. Which the eclipse in the sky gives off vibes of the Kung Lao ending in Mortal Kombat 11, where Onaga shows up. Because the sky goes pink and it has like a giant portal in the sky kind of thing going on, and it's the same color scheme. So I'm wondering if that, along with that finish him voice, if I mean that's just speculation, obviously.
Well, so I somebody pointed out to me earlier that when Ed went up on stage and they showed like the select screen and gameplay and stuff, you could
Mhm.
hear the announcer, and it was the normal announcer like we had in 9X and 11.
Okay.
The same guy. So
Interesting.
whoever's saying finish him in this footage might not be the announcer, it might be a character.
Right.
It really feels like it's a bad guy to me.
Like Onaga, yeah. I feel like that's still
it's very sonorous, very deep,
yeah.
Well,
menacing.
so I have some theories, and they might not be based on much of anything at all. But so first of all, there's the bit where they're presenting Melina as though like she's supposed to have a normal mouth in this universe, and the Tarkatan teeth are some kind of disease that's manifesting.
Right.
And
Something
there's
like that.
that.
Yeah.
There's the fact that in all the story footage, we see Kenshi hasn't lost his eyes yet, and then when Ed got up on stage and showed the select screen, Kenshi's primary costume has the blindfold, so he
Right.
does at some point lose his eyes.
Right.
And then there's all of the cameos except Goro having retro skins, and I'm thinking, well, the story mode has to use the cameo system at some parts. So I'm starting to wonder if the plot of this game isn't going to be, well, Liu Kang, you tried to create a perfect universe, but in the process of changing who all these people are, like, that's the who they're supposed to be, their fates or destinies are starting to assert themselves against your wishes anyway, or perhaps some outside force, like the Shang in the reveal trailer could have been from another timeline, or maybe somebody out there like Havoc knows how things were supposed to go, and like, oh, Liu Kang tried to remove all conflict. Well, I'm Havoc, and I like chaos, so let's fix this.
There is we have seen there's an emphasis on the word chaos used.
Yeah.
Lou said it was used in one of the descriptors for the trailers.
Right.
But that's not a conversation I'm ready to have right now, because if we have more timeline stuff going back and forth, I'm going to get a sniper rifle, dude. I can't do it. I can't do any more time stuff. Please don't make me do any more time stuff.
It might not necessarily be time.
He's kidding for the
stuff
record and legal
so
reasons.
much as like I wouldn't necessarily call it time stuff. I'd call it destiny stuff. Like Melina is supposed to be a specific person,
if you can just,
you can't
I get where you're coming
twist
from.
her to not be that person. It's gonna go badly.
There's a lot of ways you could do that. I mean, if the one being's constantly trying to wake up, then there's some things that are probably going to be inevitable and that are going to manifest regardless of what the timeline is. I'm sorry, was it?
I just want them to go one game without saying the word time or clocks or hourglasses. just please.
Now, that remains to be seen. To be fair,
let me go back to more things I actually find really cool.
Yeah.
Can we go back towards the start of the trailer where Liu Kang's talking about getting the gang together?
One thing I do want to point out real quick is, since I was so close to it, is I got to put this on slow speed here. So bear with me. But it's something we missed originally when we were doing the our reaction stream. I'll slow this down because it goes very quick, like so quick. MK3 Sonya right there.
Yeah, I saw some screenshots of that earlier.
So we missed that entirely. Here's Goro on the other side, which we saw Goro, so no real surprise there. But MK3 Sonya. So it's not just MK1 Sonya that gets a cameo. She may have another. Well, we know for a fact that she's getting another skin.
Well, yeah, I mean, this establishes that cameos in general can have more than one skin,
which is awesome. Yeah, that's super exciting. Anyways, just figured I'd point that out because that's not something everybody caught. So, anyways, let's go back. So, where do you want me to go?
Right. I'd like us to actually get a shot of Liu Kang with the hood on, talking to the people here. Right. Oh wait, this moment here where he just tosses the regular hat and it bounces off the back of Sub's head.
That is great.
Gives him a look. That's wonderful. I love that. Like, when this series nails its jokes, it really nails its jokes, and that's what
I find it interesting that his instinct was to throw the hat, even though he lives in the world where it never had a blade on it.
Which might,
I should put a blade on this later.
Which might lead to some story context of maybe you're right. Maybe like these characters are going to their natural instincts. Something's going on here where destiny is calling. So even though he never had a blade, it's like, oh, I'm throwing my hat.
Instinct to him. Don't, bro. What?
Who knows? Yeah, I'm with you though. I hope there's not like time stuff going on, but I think you can get, like Razor was saying, I don't think it necessarily has to be like, oh, we're gonna be messing with timelines and stuff. Like, I'm hoping that's not the case.
That's my one concern, and I don't. There's enough here that I actually really do love that I don't want to talk about the things that I'm afraid of right now. Let's just not. I don't know exactly where it's from, but I believe Chrome in our Discord put up a
the trailer
cap zoomed in the back.
I know
zoomed in the back somewhere. There's like
a,
it's right here,
like a Chinese right there. Wanted poster of Su Hao.
I put up a high quality,
I
put up a high quality version of that poster because there's like a, it's definitely Su Hao. Looks just it's his Deadly Alliance render.
That's wonderful. And there's Kano right down below it too.
It looks like two Kanos. I think that's like MK11 Kano with past Kano. I think these are just funny.
Yeah,
I can't tell what these characters
from 11 story mode of the two.
They're literally Easter eggs. But no, go back to Lou with the hood on.
Okay, yeah, that's where he's recruiting in the when he walks in with Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yep.
That's in the Johnny Cage part, right? He's going. There it is.
Yep. Right here. I fucking love the way that they made his eyes look here.
Yeah.
There's something about it that's especially good. Like, for a while, we've been talking, like, in 11, we had that thing where it's like characters that are supposed to have, like, blank eyes, or used to have blank eyes in the old days, like Scorpion, they would just kind of give them glazed over white pupils, and it didn't look right. This shit looks amazing. That looks good on him.
Yeah.
He looks so great. He's intimidating, and he's imposing. He feels like a god walking in mortal clothes.
I said this earlier, but it reminds me of the original movie's Raiden. You know how he was very like heavily wardrobed up, and he had his face very obscured, and you would just see the eyes, and they'd glow, and it had the lightning and everything going through, and the electricity.
Yeah, there's some.
It gives me that vibes.
Yeah, there's some shades of that going on here. Definitely, I think that they took that cue from '95.
Yeah, and this goes towards so here's some additional Lin Kuei ninjas. They're just like the generic ones. They're all wearing all black. They have the little appendage or the symbol, whatever you want to call it there.
Let's stop to appreciate that for a moment. We have an actual ninja clan that apparently mainly dresses in black.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a revelation.
That is really cool. And somebody mentioned this in the Discord, but they kind of like the idea of Sub and Scorpion working together, or potentially even real brothers. I think Ed kind of doubled down on and alluded to being the case. They like that because it almost gives them MK95 movie vibes, where they're just bros coming in together, working together as bodyguards for a higher power.
Scorpion and Sub-Zero, closest of brothers.
Slaves under my control.
Together.
But yeah, so one other thing to appreciate here is there's really no sign of gear. Like if there's gear in this game, they're not driving it home as like a big factor, so it may be really reeled in.
I have seen people point out the little things where like when you do a fatality to someone, they'll be missing like Johnny's sunglasses, or Scorpion and Sub-Zero's mask, or Raiden's hat will come off.
Interesting.
Which we did see that start to happen in, I think, X before they made that a gear thing in 11, but it's still possible there might be some like toned down cosmetic customization.
Either way, which is fine.
I feel that there's some form of cosmetics or gear going on here. Like from day one, the second I saw Scorpion and Sub's masks, I thought to myself, they're a little bit too ubiquitous. They stand out in like just the way that you would expect an item that can be removable to be,
That being said, though, they have not marketed that. So even if it is still in there, I would have to imagine they've dialed it back significantly. My hope is, anyways. It's quality over quantity, I would hope.
There was there was Shang's Claw in the first trailer. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not ready to come down on it just yet until I know what the deal is.
What I think is really interesting is how much of the story mode stuff has the characters in like normal ass plain clothes, like a real human being would wear.
That's so cool. Like going back to where Kenshi, first of all, you have suited up to a Yakuza looking Kenshi here, which is awesome. Yes. Then Johnny Cage, and this is totally Lyndon Ashby Cage inspired. It seems like in a normal business suit get up, and
like Ashby inspired, definitely. That's one of the things that I do find a little bit jarring, is how different Johnny looks.
Yeah,
it's a 360 from like the way he's sort of visually evolved from 9 through 11.
Dad Cage, yeah.
Yeah, his face is completely different. Like it's so weird to hear Andrew Bowen's voice coming out
and
of
it's
someone
still
who
the
looks
same
like
actor. It's a little jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kenshi looks so cool in this getup. I think like I'm looking so forward to just being able to have all these outfits playable. This is really cool to me. I mean, as a Kenshi guy, I love his tattoos. As a guy with sleeves and stuff, like this is super cool. I dig this a lot. I know that's probably not everyone's cup of tea, but
I do wonder what that
sick.
means for his backstory. Like the obvious implication is Yakuza, but maybe they'll go for one of the like more MK World specific ones. Like they'll do more with him having joined the Red Dragons, because in previous stuff he was like a mole and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I've said recently that I think that Kenshi's always been kind of a tremendous dick, so Yakuza Kenshi works for me completely. I have no arguments about it, none whatsoever.
Yeah, and then, gosh, this is so cool to see them in like monk gear, you know?
Yeah, imagine actually having Shaolin monks who dress like real Shaolin monks. How about that, huh? It's overdue. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah. And then, so obviously we saw several classic skins as well. For the cameos, Striker, amazing. I think when you go back and look at our reaction, Striker got the biggest like pop of all of us. Striker was
not even
so...
just our reaction. Every reaction on YouTube freaked out over Striker.
Striker is back in cameo form.
And in classic form, like he looks like this is
like
puffy
his
shirt,
schlubby fucking out of shape bod, and shirt doesn't fit right.
We got moobs.
Okay, this is actually the
'90s
thing that
mullet.
There's a thing going on with the classic cameos that I want to cover, because this is one of my mild concerns, is that they look a little kind of intentionally goofy. I worry about. I mean, Striker especially here, obviously, but like, there is something about them that There's something about them that really reminds me of, like, in terms of the texture of their clothing, like Jax's pants and the expressions. There's something that reminds me of like the MKX texture of the ninja outfits, where it's just kind of like, it kind of looks like, I don't know, hard plastic almost. And I don't know. A part of me feels like they're being, I don't know, a bit too literal with like
the fabrics that were used back then,
and like how goofy that they could make them come across. Something about it feels a little off to me. I'm not saying it's terrible, but like, it definitely stands out in kind of a weird, cheesy way.
It does clash, for sure.
What I think it is, so first of all, Striker feels like he's a less polished character model.
Yeah, he wasn't on the cameo select screen, whereas a lot of the others were, like Sonya, Kano, and Jax.
Like his like the detail of his face and things like that, just you compare him to Liu Kang and Melina right next to him, and he looks unfinished.
Yeah,
but I think that MK2 Jax looks fucking spectacular.
Oh, Jax,
go find it. He's making a really weird facial expression. Jax is when he shows up.
Find him.
It's strange.
I think he was in the Johnny Cage fight, right?
I just don't like how Striker looks nothing like Chief O'Brien anymore. That's the only thing that bothers me. Like, that's a different person. That's a completely different face.
Well, they would have, they can't. They don't want to pay royalties to the original blue screen guys, so they have to make their faces a little bit generic.
But MK9 though, right?
Jax is way ahead.
MK9 Striker can't be the guy wearing the MK3 costume. He had a John Cena body to go with
but I mean, like, just make the face closer to that. Like, put the MK9 face on this fat dude, and we're good.
I don't know that it would work. But yeah, I think that Jax looks fucking great. I mean,
he looks great here in motion, definitely.
He looks great for an MK2 costume. Like, obviously, the fact that he's wearing those weird padded silver wristbands, like, once you get a real good look at them, you realize...
on the select screen, he looks really good, too, in my opinion, but yeah.
I'll have to actually see that.
You realize stuff like, oh, John Tobias imagined these as metal, but they weren't metal on the blue screen guy, and that's what they've modeled here, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like... the reality versus the concept art.
There's a bit of cheesiness. Yeah, they're
like
very sticking to.
The only cheesiness I think of is like the fact that when you see Sonya wearing her MK1 outfit, that outfit didn't look good even in MK1.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the future we'll see more of their facial expressions, but I just feel like a couple of them, based on the screenshots that I've seen, are just making really goofy faces. It's not that they look terrible. It's just there's this atmosphere about them that I'm like, you clouded with my old school costumes?
Jax's face. I feel like Kameo Jax's face is an improvement over MK11 Jax, because it always bugged me how different he looked. Because then we found out that there was like a behind the scenes image from one of the 3D modelers who worked on 11 of like this. At some point, young Jax was going to have thicker hair and a mustache, and it looks way more like MK2 Jax, and I was so disappointed that that's, like, not the face they used in the game.
I'm not saying that his
or
face
not the
looks
details
off.
on the face. Like
I'm
now
not saying that his face looks off. I'm just saying he was making a goofy expression at one point.
I
I'll
feel
find,
like
another
whatever
screenshot
whatever
of it.
expression that was, because all I remember was him like chomping on the cigar. I feel like those are the faces Jax would make.
We'll see. I don't want to fixate on it. Too much other cool shit happening.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get a chance to talk about how I like what they seem to be doing with the cameo system. How you can apparently integrate them into actual fatalities and shit. Like, I know that Cyborg, you were hoping for basically kind of half of a playable character, and I was thinking that they were going to be basically
that
like
screen,
Marvel
by the way,
versus
Shad.
assists and whatnot, but they do seem to have gone a little bit above and beyond. Not like quite like half playable characters, but they do seem to have a lot of variety to them.
Right. Yeah, no,
Sorry, what are you looking at here?
Here's the cameo select screen, so you get a better look at him. But
I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing floating someone's
hold on.
legs.
I gotta get you guys situated on Discord. I forgot. Let me do that.
Here's a cameo select screen. Looks like a flying monk, full of electricity.
Yeah. I see somebody being flung into the air with Raiden sparks all over them.
There you go. This should be better.
There it is.
There we go.
See, that looks
Maybe-
like Jax to me.
Definitely looks like Jax. Maybe it's the. I don't know what it is.
I do wish
Maybe it's the
Kano
way
had
he's
like
holding.
stubble. Didn't Rich Divizio have stubble?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what we're
One?
looking at is basically the MK3 Kano head on top of the MK1 body. And it's a bit
Yeah.
jarring. Kind of like how in MK9 we basically had like a shaggier MK1 Kano head on top of the MK3 body. So yeah, this takes a little bit to get used to. I don't hate it, but you know what? Kano looks really oddly clean.
Yeah.
He
jarring.
doesn't even have like arm hair. Usually Kano is like a really hairy dude.
Well, for me,
Yeah.
it's the actual costume. It looks like he came out of a Downey commercial. He's very bright. And I think a lot of the cameos, honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. This is not a criticism, but a lot of the cameos look like they came out of a different game, with the exception of Jax. Jax looks great.
Yeah, see, here's my thing though, is that I would rather have that game. That's the one I actually want to play.
I think he's just holding the cigar in his mouth at a weird angle. Maybe that's what I saw earlier. It looks okay-ish to me. Yeah, there we go. He's moving it around.
Yeah. He plays
Looks-
around
it
with
looks
it.
way-
Whatever game the cameos came from, I'd rather have that than the game the primary costume.
In a way, though,
the
this is kind of
characters are
like
from.
it's not. I mean, it's not exactly, but this is kind of like our HD remake in a way. It's not the gameplay, but we're getting
see,
those models and characters remade in a version here.
Kano looks weirdly happy on that select screen. He's having such a pleasant day in the sleeping living forest.
Look at him, like
Everyone's having a good
Very
time.
shiny.
the
Yeah,
portrait,
down
he's,
here,
like,
his
looking
portrait.
up at he looks like Mr. Clean. He's like satisfied that the room is spotless. The floor has been polished and job well done.
I think.
Number mates, don't fuck with Mr. Clean.
Whoops.
In it.
Do they change like when you select them? They may. I can't remember, but I love. Man, the colors. This art style just blows me away. This
Yeah,
is exactly what I've been asking for.
Let this play, Cyborg. I haven't actually seen this in
Yep.
action.
So
This is what I've
24
not
characters
seen.
on the select screen, just so everybody
Immediately
knows.
pauses it.
Yep. Sorry. I was just making sure you saw that there was 24 characters on there.
Yes.
But yeah, man, I'm excited.
So another thing.
Okay, you know what I was
that-
seeing? It's the fact that they, once you select them, apparently, like they make this little facial expressions and motions in the back. I was seeing stills from that, and I'm like, what is going on? They look like they're making weird faces, but no, this works. In motion, it works much better.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, gross, Kano! Come on! Now he's sneezing on. He's blowing snot out of it. Oh my god, Kano, you're so. Get help, Kano! Get help!
That's much less gross than pissing in front of us.
Okay, so it goes directly
Into the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
the game from
the
the-
loading
that's
screen
cool.
is that thing everybody thought was like a clash mechanic from Injustice.
Yeah.
That is
No, that's
really
how it
neat.
loads from the select screen into the fight.
It's super clean, which Street Fighter 6 is super clean as well. So this is kind of in the same vein.
Okay, this is my first time actually seeing Kenshi's entire outfit here. That's
I love
fucking
it.
beautiful. That's
I
great.
love it so much.
It's pretty good.
There's a
So
Keanu Reeves John Wick thing about him going on. I really appreciate more than ever.
I wanted to point out something Ed said because, like, his dialogue or what Ed said about the game while he was up on stage, not a
Right.
lot of it is like super important for us to hear, but he did confirm that the Van Damme Johnny skin will have Van Damme as the voice actor.
Yep.
Because
Glorious.
that was not included when the website revealed that there would be a Van Damme skin.
Magnificent.
All right, let me go back to the thing here.
He also confirmed that the Shokan cameo is Goro.
Yeah.
I do want to, like, Goro is the only one of them who's not wearing a retro skin.
I guess
And
now
also,
that we're talking about that.
Yeah, if, like, this is my one big negative. Like, there's a couple minor little things, like Johnny's face being so different. Well, I'm like, that's kind of a nitpick. My actual, like, one thing I do not like is the Goro character model.
Yeah.
It looks like a human being cosplaying as Goro.
Cyborg, can you find it?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a good. I'm gonna try and catch him before he jumps off because that's our best look at him, like actual quality look. Let me slow it down here.
Look at them.
Yeah, I think Goro, from what I've seen, I think that's been a unanimous. I don't want to say unanimous, but most people have not been too positive about how that looks. Gosh,
Like,
dang
okay,
it, this damn thing.
point number one. Point number one. And this is not a new criticism. This is a problem that I've had, like, going back to Deception.
Jesus.
Is that, well, find the one where he's like punch walking.
Yeah, find the punch walk where it's the first time
brief.
Katana and Molina are fighting each other.
Punch walk. Yep, I was just there.
There it is.
There we go.
Somewhere. All right,
Yeah,
it's in this fight. Here we go.
And here he is.
Yeah, look, like at his tallest, he's only one head taller than Molina.
I mean, if his knees were straight, I could see 1.5, maybe 2. But it's the posture. But that's not my problem.
His face is so human. Like, normally Goro has this, like, big, wrinkly upper lip that's...
I didn't even see that now that you're mentioning it.
Yeah,
oh,
and
man.
like, you can't quite see his eyes, but it kind of looks like they might be just white human eyes.
It's tough. I mean, we don't know. It's tough.
You've, like, number one, you've got to stop putting armor and, like, bits and bobs and, like, he's wearing pants now. Stop it. Just stop it. Shokans in armor look like shit. They always have. Going back to Deception, it doesn't look right. I don't know if they're making them I don't know if they're making them wear, like, clothing because they're, like, really more conservative about that kind of thing now. I don't care what the reason is. It looks bad. And this is very possibly a candidate for the worst I have ever seen Goro look. It's disappointing. I was looking forward to him so much.
Yeah.
That is probably my biggest criticism. That's...
I mean, I don't disagree. It's just... It's
There's
tough.
too many other nice things for me to want to focus on it, but it's just... God, how I hope it has
it's a bummer to have this, like, one thing stand out as, like,
it's
kinda...
just...
I really hope that's a placeholder face.
This is what I'm saying, is it's hard to judge it because it's such a short part of the trailer that it's hard to know what's fully polished, what's final version, what kind of alt skins he might have that's better. You know, like, I don't want to... I mean, for all we know, he's just a cameo. I don't even know. Like, we'll see.
We'll see.
We also don't know what kind of story changes might be affecting some of these things. I don't know, but...
Well, God, how I hope he has a classic.
Whatever story you write that makes the Shokan more human, I'm not gonna like that story.
Now, the other thing, the other weird thing to me, I had a theory, which immediately got immediately got blown out of the water by this trailer. I had a theory that the guy in the Raiden hat from the first trailer was actually Great Kung Lao, who was going to adopt the mantle of Raiden. But here, they just straight up call him Raiden.
Yeah.
This is just a mortal dude named Raiden, training at the Shaolin Temple. Okay, Maybe Lou made another one. Maybe his parents named him Raiden. It's just the name carries so much weight to me that it seems absurd to have someone walking around with the name of the name of a god. You know, it's like
Well, it's
keep
probably a reincarnation.
Keep training, Raiden. I gotta go check on my other students, Kali, Vishnu, and Jesus Christo. It's jarring, you know.
I mean, Raiden gave up all of his godhood to Liu, and he said at the end of 11, "I will guide you for as long as my mortality allows," meaning he's going to die of old age. And this Raiden is probably like a reincarnation in like
reincarnate across the universes, though. Again, I don't want to shit on it until I actually know what the deal is. I'm sure they're gonna like completely delve into the backstory.
Well, no, Raiden wouldn't have died of old age in the old universe. He would have died of old age somewhere at the beginning of the new universe. After Liu Kang created it, Raiden would hang out for a little bit until he's an old man.
Theoretically, I don't know.
And then the Buddhist cycle takes over, I guess.
Maybe. Again, I don't want to crap on it, but it just seems weird to have a mortal guy walking around named Raiden. That's my only point. That's all. Someone told me that he's actually yelling gibberish again while he's doing lightning moves. Is that true?
I didn't catch it.
I didn't catch it either. I'm not sure. I can turn the volume up here. We can go.
Because if he actually is like yelling nonsense while like doing specials, that's a huge point for me.
Let me play this scene right here.
Whatever experience I lack, I make up for in heart.
He said something. See a Superman torpedo? I don't think we did.
Not here. He must do it in a different part because he definitely does it at some point.
There's a fight scene in the tea house where we see him do one out of an air combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Don't remember exactly where that's at. It might be towards the end.
You skipped through it.
Was it early or is it late?
It's hard to catch things when you're going frame by frame so fast.
Yeah, I don't know. Tea house. I thought it's got to be after he first shows his stuff, right? So
yeah, it's got to be
here. I don't fucking know. Either way, yeah, I don't know if the gibberish is there. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell us.
Just a detail I thought would be really cool if it was actually present, because I know that we've all missed that.
Yeah.
Everyone's missed that.
A couple things from the chat, a couple super chats we had that have been sitting on. $2.20 from Laputin Machine. Still think NetherRealm will add brand new characters too? No, I do not. I think it's just going to be the 3D era people that we've been asking for, kind of what we've been speaking and preaching on for the last few months, in that let the 3D era characters be the new characters this time. You know, I've seen some pushback on that from people that love their new characters, and they don't see the point in buying a new Mortal Kombat game if there's not new characters to play as. But like, first of all, not every character is playable in every game, so there's going to be plenty of people that weren't in MK11 or maybe even MKX that are going to be in this. So there's your new character in general. Like new game, everybody has new gameplay, and the entire game feels different from top to bottom each time. So it's not like you're buying the same Madden game and complaining because there's nothing new about it. Like this, I don't think that applies here. But also just from a like, if you're the type of person that likes new characters, like just fresh meat, just completely. Those are the 3D era characters. We have not been able to play as your Havocs, Reikos, Ashras, Nataras, Li Mei, etc., in 17 years. And they haven't gotten a fresh character model in almost 20 years, 2004. So, to me, they are going to be like new characters, not only to like 80% of the audience that probably never played them, since these games sell way more than what they used to. So there's an entire audience out there, a good chunk that don't even know about those characters' existence. But then the ones that do, that have been asking for them and begging for them to return finally after all these years. it's still going to be fresh and like new to them as well, to all of us, because they're not going to play. It's not going to be like, you're not going to take a character from the 3D era that had 2 special moves in a 3D environment where their normals weren't anything special. They were just the fighting styles. It's not like today's, fighting where in the 2D where every character is fully fleshed out and personality oozing in all of their moves and specials and so on. Like with the animations and intros and outros, like these are going to be still 90% new for everybody. So I don't have any problem with no new characters this time. Plus, there's always the off chance we get some in story, then they could be DLC or in the next game. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. That's what I've been saying for a long time, though.
Plus, if you get more new characters, they're just going to murder more of your old favorites.
And those characters are not coming back the next game.
Time's a
But
harsh
I
mistress.
imagine the person... What's that?
Just saying, time teaches harsh lessons. She's a harsh mistress.
I guess they wouldn't really take me seriously on that criticism anyway, because the people who are asking for new characters don't seem to have an investment on those characters returning the next game anyway. It sounds like their favorite part about those characters is that they're new.
Yeah.
So I don't think that crowd will ever be happy.
Novelty.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Here's that part. Let's play it real quick.
Props to MK2 Kung Lao. Love to see it.
Yeah, I didn't hear any gibberish there. Just FYI.
Ah, well. A man can dream.
And yeah, the Kung Lao, just the classic look of the spin and all that's super cool.
Yeah, I really like the special effects on the spin being called back to how it looked in 2, because we've had so many games, like even in the 3D era, like they couldn't even do the shadows on shadow kicks. Everything was like a colored smoke.
Right. And then so that's all we really have to say probably about new characters. I Am Me sent us $10. What classic stages would you guys like in the game? I'd love to see any stage from MK9, but I'd really love to see the Evil Tower and Bottom of the Pit and the subway in the MK1 art style. Classic stages. What does everybody want? Top of the list.
My favorite stage of all time has always been the MK2 portal. I'm not sure how it would necessarily fit into this story as like because it's the idea of a fixed structure. The portal is always open in Outworld. Right. But there's probably a way to do it. I'm not the guy who wrote this. I don't know what the story's going to be.
Right. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say the exact same thing, actually. I love the portal. The portal. Not like the little portals people make every now and then, all the time now, when they have to transport from one place to another. Not to be all old man yells at Cloud again, but back in like the original arcade era, having a portal was a fucking event, you know? It represented an imbalance between realms to have people transfer from one realm over to another. It was a big enough deal that you had like shadow priests like guarding it. And it was just such a big, imposing thing to see this giant vortex out in space, out in the middle of nowhere, sucking up the sky.
Yeah, it took up the entire sky, and you had to like jump across these floating platforms to even get into it. It wasn't the size of a human being.
It was massive, 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 and I miss it so much. Not just like the stage, but like that function that it served within the narrative of the story. I don't expect that to come back, but it would be really nice. And just imagine a huge swirling vortex with this kind of graphical quality. It could be insane. So that's my answer as well.
Temp, one come to mind for you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I have 2 answers. The first answer is always going to be my classic answer, the Tower / Evil Monastery, which I think is what he's referring to with the Evil Tower. That is my favorite stage of all time. Specifically how it was visualized in Armageddon, with my favorite stage fatality of all time. That is my stage, and yeah, it's my favorite. But nonetheless, that is not really my answer. My answer is the Tomb. The Tomb needs to come back. It's long overdue, and you can do so many cool things with it. It is also one of the best stage fatalities of all time. So you got to bring back the Tomb.
The combat tomb with the spikes in the ceiling.
I think he means the MK. Yeah. No, not the MK4 tomb.
No, because there is a stage in MK4 that's also called.
So this is MK2, correct?
The combat
MK2.
That's the one with the pterodactyls and the spikes on the ceiling.
That'd be the one.
It has been a long time since we've seen that one.
Yeah, I miss it too.
And you can do so much cool stuff with it because you can put literally anything you want in that background, which, in my opinion, is actually not exactly a good thing. Because if you go crazy with that, you're going to kill the whole vibe. You need to be kind of conservative with that, in my opinion. Don't go wild. One reason why I don't care for the tower in MK9 is because I don't think the day-night stuff works. So yeah, just make sure you get the essence of the stage and then have a little bit of fun with it afterwards, but don't go crazy.
Cool. All I was gonna say earlier is that we got one with Living Forest already. Obviously, it looks very different. It's gonna have a different vibe and everything to it, which is kind of cool, just to see a new spin on an old classic. But it's hard for me to think of one specifically. Like, we're seeing a lot of like Asian influenced stages, very Mortal Kombat 1, that we're seeing a lot of what I've been asking for, honestly, like in terms of just stage design and art style. These are the kind of things that I wanted the most. So it's hard for me to be like, bring back this classic stage, because I'm just being spoiled with like all these new designs that are so damn good. Not to say I wouldn't want classic stages to come back and have them be so damn beautiful like this. Other than what you guys have already said, which I agree with all those picks. Those are all great picks. The only other one that I think of is like maybe getting a couple MK3 things in there, like a rooftop, but you wouldn't have Khan's, thing in the background, way in the background. So I don't know how that would look, but I like the idea of a cityscape in the background as you're battling on a roof could look really cool.
So much about like those MK3 stages though. They're very ordinary places unless you have Khan's invasion going on. They're just like cityscapes. I'd love to see a couple of them too, but they kind of necessitates telling the entire invasion or an invasion story all over again from scratch. Which, I don't know, some people seem to be kind of burnt out on that kind of thing.
I wouldn't mind the subway.
Though, I agree. For like the bank would be really cool to see in a modern game.
You could have the subway without any alteration whatsoever.
Right.
Because there's nothing really supernatural going on in there, sure.
Yeah. Subway I would be on board with. I'm trying to think of others like
it's not the bridge without changing anything, because you can't really see any like city damage in the original MK3 version of that one.
Or even like the waterway one, yeah.
Yeah, you could have the waterfront. They wanted to put a giant ass Kraken in that one, but they never got the time.
So that would be kind of cool. It's not a class. Well, if I had to choose one above all, like is probably my favorite stage of all time, which is Shang Tsung's throne room. I loved it in MK9 when they brought it back and had the storm going on outside. Like, that would probably be my number one pick. I'm just not sure logistically if that's going to fit in here or not. But that would probably be at the top of my list just from a pure favorite stage standpoint. But some other ones, not really classic, I wouldn't say, just because they're not that old. I really loved the Cove from MKX. That was probably my favorite MKX stage. So seeing that in this color scheme, like with the vibrant colors and everything, with the water, like I just want water in the background, honestly. Like, even one thing that I've been asking for, it's not a classic stage, at least not in a video game, but in the movie, like in the original movie, I still want them fighting with the water in the background when Liu Kang fought Katana in the original movie.
The beach. The beach was a really cool.
Have the flags and the beach, and you're in the sand and whatnot, and then the water in the background with the giant sea stacks, the big ass rocks in the background. Like, I want that, and you see the boats and whatnot. Like, that is something I really want. So out of everything we've seen so far, just give us some waterfronts and stuff like that. Give us some city stuff. Because right now I feel like they've nailed the classic Japanese, Asian inspired themes. They've been nailing it thus far. Give us a couple more of those, but otherwise give us some variety. That's all I'm really asking for at this point. Like this one's a perfect example of just like, I would never even thought of making this a stage, but it is the perfect stage. I love this.
You know what, actually, on the topic of like the traditional Asian atmosphere that's going on, I can really see some classic shadow priests showing up in an environment like this.
Yeah.
Like, not the like redesigned kind of Dark Souls-ish ones that MK11 and 9 had going on, but they would fit into this perfectly.
Yeah.
So Fingers crossed.
It definitely feels like we're finally getting our just like natural everyday aesthetic mixed with kung fu and magic. Finally, we're getting that back. And
I mean,
we're moving away from special forces so far in what we've seen, which is awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Like, what do we think of the conspicuous absence of anything special forces apart from cameos going on?
Thank God.
Are we just holding? Hang on. Do you think they're just holding them back for
No.
like future like footage, or do we think that they're actually taking a complete backseat this time through?
So I
backseat.
wouldn't be surprised if they later revealed that Sonya or Jax was main roster, but I do think that if they're not, it's definitely like a direct. Like, there's a lot of things about this game aesthetically that I feel like are a direct response to people saying, we want less special forces, we miss the Asian stuff, because there's so much Asian stuff in it.
Yeah.
I wanted to
This
say,
is go ahead.
one of my favorite things about the stages is just that a tea house stage exists, because fights in tea houses are such a classic trope of old kung fu movies. And we haven't really had that in MK yet. And so it's really nice to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as far as like giving me what I want aesthetically in terms of like stages and just overall art design and direction, this has been a home run. This is beyond what I could have imagined. It's like they took everything I've been saying and asking for in my brain, what I was picturing. And recently playing Street Fighter 6, I was like, man, I was envious because Street Fighter 6 has some awesome, like, it's got the cherry blossoms, it's got your pagodas and it's got all that shit going on. I'm so happy that they're leading with this stuff. Like, we're not having to wait and wonder if it's going to be there. Like, it is front and center and in our face that we're getting all of that stuff. And it just is beautiful. And I am going to go on record as just like, I don't know for sure, but I do think Sonya, Jax, and Kano are probably just cameos. The way it was presented just in the trailer, but also the way Ed presented it after the fact, he made it seem like those three are just cameos. He didn't outright say they're just cameos, but when he referred to our three cameos like Sonya, Kano, Jax, I'm paraphrasing, he made it, I don't know, just I'm getting that vibe.
I mean, the thing of it is that even if being a cameo means you're not playable, it doesn't mean you're not a major part of the game, because any of these guys could be, like, they could have a modern skin and be in story mode.
Yeah, it's still possible. They're just going to be very not front and center and not the main characters.
Less of a focus,
Yeah, which is good. And a lot of people are like, well, Sonya's got to be in there because, you know, she's so tied to Johnny. And then my only response to that is, she was. Like, that doesn't mean that this time it's going to be the same. And maybe we'll get there eventually. Maybe in the second game we get there. Maybe in DLC story mode or something. Because I would still not be surprised if they came in, like, DLC. Like, Sonya, Kano, Jax would sell great. They're still classic characters that a lot of people love. So by all means.
She was never originally tied to Johnny in the original timeline. Notably at all, really. They knew each other. They hung around, and
we all wanted to see it after the movie.
Yeah,
it was definitely an NRS timeline thing.
There are definitely,
and it doesn't always have to be the case.
Things where, like, the two of them were often in scenes together in Malibu, and Johnny has, like, the in his Deadly Alliance ending, it's like, on the poster for my new movie, there's Sonya hanging on my leg, like. He's thinking about it, and it just never happened the way we all wanted to see it happen.
I mean, like, well, that's just Johnny for you, right? Because he's thinking about it every time he sees Katana, Melina, Shiva, possibly Meat. It's anything with legs with this guy. It's just who he is.
But it's like Sonya and him just make sense together because...
Oh, they do, but...
Neither character has a lot going on without the other, honestly.
I'm just saying, it was never always a prerequisite. We were just used to seeing it. And it doesn't always have to be the case. And it doesn't have to be the case right away. It can be later. They don't even have to meet in this game, assuming that they're both around.
My money is that one of the three will be playable. I just don't know which one, but I think I do agree that I don't think the fact that Sonya is tied or not tied to Johnny matters. I mean, Sector and Cyrix were tied to Frost in MK11. Rain was tied to Melina in MKX. Lee May was probably tied to something in MKX. I can't remember. So I don't know how far that theory really goes.
Yeah.
What do we?
But yeah, either way. So I don't think I guess bringing it back to the original point is I don't think it's essential that just because Johnny's playable and one of the main characters here that certainly Sonya and Jax must be as well. Like I just, if they're mixing up relationships and roles, and we've already seen a bit of that here in this trailer, like it's not unfounded to think that Johnny's going to be doing his own thing right now. That's okay. It's fresh. It's new. Like if we're just resetting and revisiting all the same relationships where Johnny and Sonya are going to be an item that, bicker back and forth and then eventually they fall in love and have kids, like, then what's the point? Like, I feel like let's see some fresh new relationships and interactions with characters.
I will say
problem is that. Well, what's up?
Well, I will say also that, like, I would find it actually extremely jarring if neither Sonya or Kano were present. I know that a lot of people are just burnt out on them and they want to see them go away forever. I've never felt that way. What I'm tired of is the Kano and Sonya dance, the back and forth that where they're just always about the other. And like I've said, they didn't have much to do with each other at all in Deadly Alliance, and it was very refreshing. So, just saying, any notion of like gathering like the squad together like Lou's doing in this trailer and not having Sonya involved seems way too out there for me. I think she's around, but we just haven't seen her yet.
Okay. Yeah. I see, I'm not even on the train. Like, I don't want them involved ever. I don't want to see the whole thing between them anymore. I feel like we've had that enough years, but also like I'm fine if they are saved till DLC. That's just where I'm coming from. Like, we have other things I want to see for a change. We had so much Special Forces. MK9 through MK11 was the Special Forces show.
It really was. And I think that this trailer was engineered specifically not to like give the impression that they're not absent, but to show us that there's more of what we have been asking for here, like you've said.
Yep.
The biggest problem to me is that if we have roster/cameo redundancies, that number, which seems to be, I think, at 16 or so.
16 total cameos so far that we know.
But it's actually less than that with Sub-Zero and Scorpion there. And if we're assuming that one of the three Special Forces is going to be, I'm putting Kano in that crowd for a moment, then that's going to go down to 13. If that number just keeps going down, and if we get under 10, to me, that makes me question the whole cameo system then.
In terms of what? Because we know 8 of them so far.
Inclusive to the like past roster.
Sorry, can you elaborate? Because we know of 8 so far. Yeah. We know the 3 that they show on the select screen, which is Kano, Sonya, Jax, the ones they featured here. Plus, we know Striker's a cameo because we see him. And then Ed Boon himself said Sub and Scorp, which we saw Sub. So there's 6, 7, and then Goro, right? And Kung Lao.
You're forgetting, yeah.
So that's a total of 8
wow,
or 8 or 9.
So to me, the benefit of the cameo system was that if
8.
your character didn't make the main roster, then you could really expand the overall character count by putting a lot of old favorites as cameos. But those slots just keep going down more and more.
Well, there's
two
things.
If that happens,
I really don't think you have anything to worry about on that front. I anticipate that that cameo select screen is going to increase drastically.
There's no way it's just 16.
You mean at launch or forever? Because we know for sure they'll be adding through DLC and stuff a pretty good amount each time.
At launch is a maybe, but after we're going to get a lot of cameo DLC.
Yeah. Well, DLC is a different story, though. Akuma's coming out in 2024. I can't bet on DLC. I'm talking about base here.
You're more concerned, though, that there's going to be a lot of people playable on the roster and also cameo taking up those slots from just cameo people. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Well, if you have a small amount of cameos, then it defeats the whole point of the system, in my opinion. In terms of character inclusivity, maybe in gameplay it's great. I have more to say in the gameplay stuff later, but in terms of like getting everyone's favorites on the screen, 10 cameos is rather flaccid, in my opinion.
16's not bad though. Like 16,
but we don't even have 16 with Kung Lao, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion all being cameos. So it actually goes down from that.
Okay, so that was my original point. So your concern is that the people that are playable on the roster are eating into those spaces. Like you think there's going to be a lot of them. Because I don't think there will be. Like, I don't think I think it's really going to be just like the people that everybody's going to want to use, which is Sub-Zero and Scorpion, right? The two most popular characters in the entire series. Maybe they extend that to Katana, Melina. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, with Kung Lao, without like talking leaks or anything, right? We already know of one other character, and the fact that that character, without naming names, with that character being on that list, says to me nobody's like a safe assumption that they're going to be a cameo. I still feel like we're going to get a good chunk of them as being strictly just cameos, and that's extra why I do think Sonya, Kano, and Jax are just cameos. I do not think they're on the playable roster.
Well, that would help the system, but like the line I set is 10. There has to be at least 10 non-redundant cameos. If there's less than that, it doesn't ruin the game, but that is a giant mark against the system, in my opinion. That is a huge criticism.
Sure. Guess we will find out. But yeah, I'm not so worried about that. I think 10 is a realistic and very obtainable number. I have faith that if it's not 10, it's going to be very close to it. Just out of the gate anyways. But then you have to imagine through DLC, it's going to be heavily skewed towards unique cameos, not just adding the playable characters on top of it. But yeah. All good points though in discussion. So a couple more things people asked. Laputin Machine again. I think he was the one that did the last super chat, but he super chat at $5.50. My favorite character is already in the game. Who are you guys looking forward to the most? So we talked a little bit about this on the stream earlier, but Shad, why don't you start us off? What characters are you looking forward to the most? Who do you really want to see in this game? Now that we see the gameplay, we know the art style, we have a little bit more idea on story. Who are you clamoring for most to see designed in this game?
Well, let me say hello to our new listeners and succinctly tell you all the fact that my favorite character is and has always been the Earth God from Mortal Kombat mythology's Sub-Zero. I look forward to him playing an extremely large part. It's Smoke, man. It's always been Smoke. I'm looking forward to Smoke. You're going to hear me talk a lot about Smoke. You will hear me talk a lot about Smoke. You'll hear a lot of us talk a lot about Smoke. Smokey Smoke Smoke, if you go back into our back catalog. I cannot imagine what he's going to look like in this game. I'm like, seeing the fight system the way it is now, kind of getting a little bit giddy. Getting a little bit giddy with these graphics, the way the speed at which this seems to be moving, the combo possibilities. If Smoke's in this, and I really think he is, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a good time. And Reiko. Oh, yes. We all want Reiko. We've been all convinced over... It's been Reiko week in our Discord for like the last week. Everyone's talking about Reiko. We feel like he's a lock.
Well, it's because Ed said the stuff about MK4 characters, and Reiko is the most popular MK4 character who wasn't recently already in a game.
And then Brusque showed up a screenshot of like him and a couple other people. Havoc was up there too, and Ed directly responded to Brusque with like a
it was Reiko, Havoc, Natara, and Li Mei, and yeah. It was like it was one of those it was one of those gifts that looks like, oh, I wish I could tell you I'm chomping at the bit to kind of like playing cheeky.
So yeah, to a lot of us, it feels like Reiko is pretty much a lock in this game. And I can't wait for it. I gotta start making the Reiko gifts, man. Just chucking ninja stars left and right. It's gonna be great. I have missed Reiko. Reiko has not been in a game since, what year was Armageddon? 2007? Probably since some of Mortal Kombat's current audience was even born, man.
2006 for Armageddon. And then before that, it was all the way back in MK4. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, the current generation of MK fans, like, probably primarily knows Reiko from, like, the NKX comic as his major appearance. That's all he's had recently. I hope you guys are about to find out why we've missed him so much.
I mean, are you sure he hasn't had something else? Are you sure he wasn't anything else?
Well, I mean, he was in the MKX comic.
Was he in something else?
I don't think so. There hasn't been a single other thing that's had Reiko in it since that MKX.
No, you're right. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Oh, no way, he was in Battle of the Realm.
Yeah, was he in Battle of the Realm?
That's right. Battle of the Realms, of course.
Yep. There you go.
They probably know him from that too.
Yeah.
All right, Temp.
I've been saying for a year that the stars align, and I feel like Lee May is coming back in some capacity. So, if Lee
Now,
May's
hold
coming
on.
back,
Can I stop you right there? Not to cut you off, but I think this is important because
Well,
we
you
got to
did
follow.
cut me off. It's
Well, I said sorry either
I'm
way.
joking. Yeah.
I'm doing it anyways. I'm coming in. I'm merging. You better let me in. But it's for a good cause, because before we move on from Lee May, before you say anything, anybody else, I have to know, now that you've seen the gameplay, now that you've seen like kind of what we're working with, what's your apprehension level? Are you even more nervous of the idea of her being in here, or do you feel like, okay, the aesthetics, the gameplay, this is going to be a perfect fit? Do you have more faith in it? Do you have less faith? I'm curious where you're at on that.
It's the same distance in both directions that cancel out into the same spot. So in one sense, I have more faith just because visually the game looks like it was customized for someone like Lee May.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like with the cameo system, we've already seen some goodwill towards older characters. So that's a plus. That's about 5 steps forward.
Yeah.
However, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are brothers, and that's
Kenshi's
5 steps back.
Yeah, the Kenshi change, and yeah.
So that makes the chances of Cyber Lee May go up quite a bit.
Okay.
So yeah, just we'll see. Like I'll be here. You know, I got my coffee. I hope she's cool. I think for a while I thought like, you know, Lee May is going to be the next Frost. I've thought that since we saw Frost and all her frosty greatness. So we'll see. I'm not anxious. I'm just, you know, I just let it wash over me, and hopefully it's good when that happens. And if it's not, well, you win some, you lose some.
Okay. And who else?
Smoke.
High five.
High five.
All right. And I know you've gone on record saying Reptile as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Reptile's interesting in every game he's in. He's never not interesting. So I have full faith Reptile will be super interesting. Maybe not good, but I think it's more likely than unlikely he'll be good. I don't want to sound pessimistic.
Right.
They've gotten some things wrong with Reptile, but they've never gotten Reptile wrong. Not gameplay wise, at least. And generally, he has some decent design I can play ball with. So yeah, I'm fairly excited for Reptile.
I feel like the legacy of like Mortal Kombat 2 Reptile being one of the worst characters in the history of all of fighting games has left a large shadow. Like they probably go out of their way to make him good and make him viable.
Well, you know, there was like everybody lost most of their moves in Deadly Alliance, and Reptile was not served well by that either. He kept the spit though. That's something, right, guys?
He kept the spit. He gained a ball roll. He was still zipping back and forth, all crazy like and whatnot.
Yeah,
they gave him Melina's ball instead of a slide. What a great idea that was.
Hey, it was better than like Raiden getting like the shoulder charge or whatever the hell was going on there. That said, though, you know what? Seeing that lizard guy with these graphics,
he's gonna look good,
shit,
and
man.
the colors, he's gonna be as green as he's ever been. I can't wait.
I bet we're gonna be able to like make out individual scales on this guy. It's gonna be fucking nuts.
I've already made the joke too many times, but I am looking forward to seeing Reptile's man bun.
I did want to sort of.
Oh God! What if Smoke is a cyber and he has a cyber man bun?
Dude,
he has the dreads tied up in a bun.
Oh, actually, that would look sick, dude. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Why are your electrical cables in a knot, bro?
I'm not anti-man bun. Give me the cable bun. Give it. What were you gonna say, Razor?
I was gonna point out like a sort of a jokey minor nitpick of like. So between everybody having man buns and everybody with short hair wearing suits, it's really hard to tell characters apart right now.
Yeah. After rewatching our reactions multiple times, I was like, Temp's biggest reaction the entire time was, who was that? Who was this? Who was that?
There's a scene where they're putting Melina on that like dentist chair to hold her down, and Kenshi is in that scene, and most of the people who see that scene don't know that it's Kenshi. They're like, who is that guy? Because without the blindfold, he looks like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting that he's the one interacting with her. Also, where the heck is she? Like this feels like an allusion towards a character, like somebody's office or something. Or do you think
it's
the
like
Shaolin?
It definitely looks still like of the old timey Chinese aesthetic because of all this really old wooden furniture. Like it's not a
Yeah.
modern doctor's office. So
Right.
I'm inclined to think they're still in Edenia, or they brought her to the Shaolin Temple, maybe.
Right.
And like the fact that Kenshi's there in a scene about Kitana and Melina does sort of establish there must be some sort of active alliance between Earthrealm and Edenia or Good Outworld or whatever it is.
Right.
And I think it'll be interesting to see, like, because one of the things I'm wondering is like, did Liu Kang get in touch with new Kitana? Do they have a relationship? Is he just leaving her alone because he's billions of years older than her now? What's the deal?
It's really hard to make a relationship with that kind of age gap work. Just saying.
I mean, there was a giant age gap in the other direction before, and none of us were bothered by it.
I mean, tens of thousands, couple of million or billion. It's not exactly the same ballpark. I mean, I don't know.
Well, maybe I'm just wondering, like, why would you let Melina have the throne instead of Kitana, unless like Kitana has something else to satisfy her too? Like maybe, you know, she does have some share of Liu Kang's guardianship of the universe or something. So it's like, you can be in charge, and I'll just protect you and watch over this realm.
I mean, I think it is like time to consider that Melina's entire origin is completely and totally different this time through.
Yeah.
Oh, it is for now, but then the teeth grow in, and it's like, surprise.
Yeah.
There's some things you just can't change.
Well, it still would be a change from what, being a clone made by Shang or whatever. Well, we don't know, but yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to find out. I mean, I'm very intrigued about all the origin story
All
stuff.
I'm saying is they all think she has a disease. I'm betting it's not a disease.
Maybe, yeah, I could see that. As far as characters that you're looking forward to, Razor, it's probably remain the same.
Smoke. I particularly want to see him be a cyborg again because we went so many games now without it.
Right.
Even
the
I
other
think
thing
it's
is
kind
like,
of time.
So longtime listeners know that my favorite female character is Serena, and I've sort of, the way that Temp is trepidatious about seeing Lee May come back because they might do something wrong with her. I was sort of feeling that about Serena. But now that we know that cameos wear classic skins, I really, really, really hope Serena is a cameo, because I think her Mythologies outfit is perfect just the way it is, and you should never, ever design anything different for her.
All right. On record, Razor wants her as a cameo now.
Guys,
can you have the right outfit?
Can you imagine cameo chameleons? How good
I
they're
don't
gonna
need
look like
new
this.
clothes for you if you're already perfect.
Okay. For me, I got Kenshi in the trailer, so ahead of the stream, I think I listed 3 characters: Ashra, Cyrax, and Kenshi. Got Kenshi, so that's cool. I also said while we were doing our reaction that, you know, if Cyrax is relegated to a cameo, and hopefully he's added as later DLC, if that is the case, but at the very least, kind of on the same wavelength as Razor, I would have to imagine we're getting like MK3 Cyrax, like an actual MK3 retro cyborg Cyrax version or whatever. For that, I would be excited with, like, to be able to play Kenshi and have Cyrax as my assist in that form would be actually really cool, especially because they have fatals, they have fatal blows or whatever, they have multiple moves. It's just the whole kit and caboodle, I feel like. So I feel like I would be very excited by that, especially if he was in story. But yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
We remember how hard they knocked the Cyber Ninja retro design out of the park in 9, right? How great they looked. We were all talking about that a couple episodes ago.
It's going to look way better here, in my opinion.
Incredibly so.
Yeah, so I would be excited for that. Still hope he's main roster, but we'll see. And then Ashra's still up there. And if I were to name a third, that's tough. Like, there's so many characters I want to see. Definitely 3D era. I think I'd probably be most excited about someone like Lee May. Obviously, I've gone on record she's not my favorite like Temp, but she's still up there. She's still a character I really loved. And when we went back and played Deadly Alliance and Deception, I had a great time playing her again. So I think aesthetically she would be absolutely awesome in this game. So looking forward to that.
And I think we're all dead set and certain that we'd all love to see Havoc again, correct?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep, absolutely. All sorts. I mean, I'm still looking forward to like Natara and all those characters. So Kai, I still think Kai would be absolutely awesome in this game. Gosh, you'd be cool.
Actually, there's a point of conversation. What do we think about the quality of like the animation that we've seen so far in the moves? Because, well, Razor and I had a conversation last night about Kai and about how one of MK's points of controversy these past couple of games has been a continuation of how stiff some of the kicks have felt. Like, everyone jokes about Terminator's ducking like kick of doom.
Right.
The stank leg.
The stank leg. So we were talking about how maybe they couldn't, like, how Kai could present a challenge because capoeira is so flowing and so smoothly animated. You think that they could pull it off now after seeing the animation the way it is?
It's not just an animation thing. It's that the poses you need to put your body into to mocap capoeira require a lot of like being upside down, doing like hobby horse sweeps, all these kind like. I don't believe Carlos Pacina's body can move that way.
I mean, you can hire many people.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are folks who will.
I don't know if you can find a capoeirista in Chicago, though.
I have a hard time believing Carlos Pacina's mocapping like 95% of these moves. Like, a lot of these are pretty crazy stuff that I would have to imagine other people are doing this at this point. He's getting up there. Like,
the animation has steadily improved from 9NX to 11. There is much less of the stanky leg, but they're still, standing on their feet when they throw their punches and kicks. I still don't actually believe NRS has reached the level where I have faith they could do capoeira.
We'll see. Hopefully we'll see, because I would really love that.
At least not the kind of capoeira I wanted to see, which is Eddie and Christy. Like, we were talking about, that Tekken's a 3D game, and it's like, they were also in SFX Tekken, and Christy's moves in that game are way better than Elena's.
Right.
And she's the Street Fighter capoeira character. So, like, that's still the gold standard is fucking Christy Montero and Eddie Gordo. So, like,
I don't know.
If you can't match Eddie, then don't even bother until you're ready, is where I stand. Like, I'd rather have nothing than something done bad.
I think they're ready to take up the challenge. God, his eyes are so incredible.
Yeah. Could get lost in those bad boys.
Really good. Portals.
All right, so some more super chats we got from Ryan Weston. What do you think of the Kitana and Melina storyline with Melina have a disease and even being queen? We talked a little bit about this so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a disease. I think the old timeline is asserting itself in her fucking biology somehow.
I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts other than I hope that we don't see Melina bad, Kitana good, Melina don't trust Kitana. I think she just jealous.
The voice acting alone has already ensured Melina's not a good person. Like,
yeah. She's pretty sinister.
Like, it's nothing against Carrie Walgren because she does a really good Kitana. But, like, that's the thing, is, like, Karen Strasman in 9 and X was a good Melina, not so great Kitana. Carrie is a good Kitana, not so great Melina. I just wish they would get Grey Griffin, because I know she can do both. Because she's done so many, like, evil characters and good characters. Her vocal range is established out there in media, and she's played Kitana in Scorpion's Revenge and Battle of the Realms. I'd just really like to see her in the main series.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably right. I don't know. I was hoping for some like change ups on the good and evil.
It would be nice. It would be nice to see like a greater emotional range from Melina and the potential that she doesn't have to be a bad guy. But when you have the Saturday morning cartoon villain voice, it's a little difficult to go there.
We'll see. I don't know.
I don't think it's out of possibility. I don't think it's impossible. They do seem to be kind of trying to cast her here in a bit of a sympathetic light by giving her a disease.
Oh, I think they'll definitely make her like a tragic villain.
Yeah.
But...
Maybe that's maybe that's what they're going for, is setting up a redemption arc where they start her off good, she struggles, then obviously succumbs to whatever is going on with her, and then goes crazy, and then eventually Katana is trying to get her back.
I do want to point out that even before the teeth grow in, she has made the choice to wear a hair tie with skeleton fingers coming around her head.
I mean, that's a style some
really
people are into.
Good people dress.
I mean, it's fine.
I could see myself rocking it. I'm a decent person. If I was a lady, I'm just saying. But you know what? The thing that does worry me about this is, assuming you have a sympathetic Mileena who does a face turn, if you can believe that kind of thing, that also lends itself to the possibility that they go the other way with Katana. And I don't know about you guys, but evil Katana is not something I'm quite ready to see again.
Well, we just had an evil Katana for like 2.5 games.
Exactly. I don't think I want that.
I don't think they're going to repeat the heel turn for any of the characters who just spent all that time as a Revenant, because it was too recent.
So
like, even with Liu Kang, there's a lot in the marketing that's trying to give Liu Kang like a sinister bent. Like, if you fuck with my perfect world, I'm not going to show any mercy, and make him sound darker. I don't think that means he's going to end up a bad guy. I think that just means he has a lesson to learn about trying to control destiny too hard. And the harder you squeeze the bar of soap, the more likely it is to slip out of your hand.
All right, and then next up we have Ryan Chan with $5. Since Mileena is referred to as a queen, does that mean Sindel is not on the roster?
God, I hope so.
It's possible. We don't really know for sure, but it's possible.
Hard to say one way or the other.
We don't see any trace of her here, but that doesn't mean she's not there.
It's I said in our last episode, in spite of, even aside from all the conversations about how she was written in 11 and whether they could fix her or whether they want to or not, just putting all that aside, Sindel has had a lot of screen time in the past 3 games in a row, and I just want to take a break.
Yeah.
I just want one game without Sindel for a little while.
I think with all the craziness, Kameo is likely, especially after seeing Striker.
Yeah, I could see Kameo Sindel running out there, in her classic outfit, her MK3 outfit.
Like I said, I am quite ready to take a break. I want to like that character again, and I can't right now if you shove her down my throat one more time. But going back to the question, she starts off most stories dead. That could very well still be the case. So Mileena being queen or Katana being queen doesn't really tell us much one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, remains to be seen. I mean, we've just gotten a hair of a sample of what's to be going on in story. We don't really know the context of anything. We're just kind of seeing little snippets. The general it sounds like so far we only really know the one part of the plot, and that is Raiden. Lou in Raiden's position now is gathering the fighters, basically. Gathers up Kenshi, gathers up Sub-Zero and Scorpion, so on and so forth. Trying to get them trained. Raiden and whatnot. So yeah, we don't know what else is going on, though. Let's see. And then the next one here. Vince Valborn. Thanks for all your support in general, dude. You're always supporting us with comments and stuff. But $5, all they need is Lateef Crowder to play Kai. I don't know who that is.
He's an actor. He does capoeira IRL.
Okay.
He played Eddie in the Tekken movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So yeah, he'd be great. I mean, I don't think NRS would, front the money to get a famous Hollywood stunt man just for motion capture. Although they could also have him do the character's face and voice if they wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, you think they paid Ronda Rousey a lot of money?
Probably.
I sometimes wonder if Ronda Rousey didn't pay them money to get herself into the game. Because she didn't bring any fucking value.
Yeah. So that's all for the super chats for now. Any other thoughts of things you want to talk about specifically? I mean, there's so much there's just so much craziness. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up that hasn't been said, and we didn't talk about it earlier because we didn't know, but IGN put up like a tweet or something saying that there's going to be more reveals for there's going to be more coverage of Mortal Kombat 1 this weekend. So there's more new stuff to be had as part of Summer Game Fest. It's not just what we've seen so far. So I would be the scuttlebutt. Like I said, we don't really comment on leaks, and I'm not going to name any names, but the scuttlebutt is, it wouldn't even be surprising if we see another character revealed this weekend. So, yeah.
I love that word, scuttlebutt.
It's a fun word. But yeah, so we should know more information. We should learn more about the game this weekend. So we shouldn't have to wait too long because Summer Game Fest, plus we know some of the content creators like the supers of the world got some sort of video that they're going to be putting up tomorrow. So we shouldn't even have to wait fully to the weekend. Some more stuff should be happening in the next day or 2 or 3. So hopefully we learn even more about like the gameplay elements that wasn't really touched on, or just more like details and confirmations. And then more characters coming, especially 3D era characters would be great, because as hyped as we were for Reiko, we only really got Kenshi, which I'm not complaining because I love Kenshi, but I feel like we're still kind of left hanging. We're still jonesing for that first 3D era character that we haven't seen forever represented. So I
wasn't expecting Kenshi, and there's so much Kenshi. Like in this footage alone, Kenshi has 3 different costumes.
I'm excited, man. Like I mentioned this before, but even when Kenshi was around, he didn't get a lot. Like MK9, he was just DLC, so he didn't even have a voice at that time. And then MKX, he was very minor role, like he was hardly around. And then in MK11, he wasn't there. So like even though Kenshi's been around playable wise, he hasn't done much story. So I'm excited for him playing more of a front and center role, which is cool.
It's been a hot minute since that happened. I'm open to it. I'm just not looking forward to dealing with teleport bullshit and telekinetic bullshit anymore. Again, it's
you know
bad,
what?
man.
I didn't see any of the overhead, the dropping astral projection.
It's the teleflurry shit that I can't, like, bad flashbacks to the end of MK9's life cycle. That shit was awful. Just ugh.
But yeah, now I'm excited.
That when we get there in a couple of weeks in the streams. Ugh.
So yeah, hopefully we start getting. Hopefully our next like character reveal or 2 are more of the ones that we're really, really pulling for. Like some of the ninjas we haven't seen, like a smoke or a reptile, as well as a 3D era character. So I'm hoping we get those sooner rather than later. So let's keep the train, because we have so many revealed that are characters we got in 11 or X. Let's keep the train moving and really get some fresh meat in here. That would be really awesome. So I'm excited.
Well, I'll be even more stringent than that. They have to reveal an MK4 character this weekend or sooner. Like I'm going to say, like if they don't do that, then the whole MK4 tease was in really bad taste. So I'll be waiting.
It does look a little strange to put that one up first out of all of them.
I don't think Ed thinks that hard about, if I say this, how much time until it actually gets shown.
Yeah, to Ed, it's like it's a soft promise. You guys will be happy.
You'll see it. I'm not saying you'll see it this week, but you'll see it. You know.
Well, that doesn't make it okay though, because at least I know, intelligent people know, no one is going to interpret it like that.
Here's the thing: is that like over the years, Ed has gotten slightly less trolly with each passing year. So like this is the nicest Ed we've ever had.
Yeah, he just confirms things, basically teases them.
But in this case, he does it to himself if there's a backlash if no MK4 character is revealed. Like he set himself up for that if that is the case.
See, I mean, I half agree with you. I half agree that putting up the MK4 select screen with some will be returning to battle, or however he worded it, is a lot of people were thinking Reiko specifically for good reason. But on the other hand, like I feel like a 3D era character that we haven't seen in an NRS game, like a Havoc or a Li Mei or a Natara, whatever, anybody that's cut from that same cloth, would scratch that itch. I don't think if you put out Havoc out there, people are going to be like, "Where's my MK4, Ed?" Like, I think people are going to be so over the moon to see the character that they're getting, the characters that we've been asking for, like an Atara. I highly doubt if you throw an Atara out there, who is a highly requested character, that you're going to get like, where's Makai? You know, like, where's my Reiko? People are excited for Reiko. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely up there in excitement and desire to see, but I just feel like people, I think more than anything, people just want one of those characters.
Well, to me, the knowledge that they're there and that they're coming is enough. That's all I really agree. Like, I'm not sitting here champing at the bit, hoping, is today Reiko Day? Is today? It'll be fucking great if.
Well, here's the thing: we're also older men now, and we've been through this process so many times that, like, I don't have that impatience for reveals that the younger people that I had when I was their age. And the other thing is, the game is only like 3 months and change away.
That's what I was going to say.
In a hurry. It's that close.
We'll be playing this game within 2 months, and we'll be having this game officially within 3. Like, it's not. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to wait very long. This is going to be very quick, just like MK11 was from gameplay reveal to release. 3 months is nothing.
Well, I should clarify. Like, I'm not even that big of a Reiko fan. I've gone on record being very harsh on MK4 in general, but I don't let anyone off the hook when they tease things that aren't real. So I think it's probably best not to tease something right before reveal. And because again, he posted this days before a reveal event. So if nothing comes, I would never personally like go and say something mean on Twitter just because I hate Twitter. I don't like saying mean things. But like, if there is a backlash to that, then
what you have to understand is that Ed did not say you will see a Mortal Kombat 4 character soon. Somebody asked about Mortal Kombat 4 characters, and he responded with an emoji.
Well, I thought he posted a picture of the MK4.
He posted the select screen, and
that counts. That absolutely counts.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I don't think we disagree much. I think the only disagreement is that ultimately you feel MK4 plays the biggest factor here, whereas I think the rest of us think the 3D era is the bigger picture here. I think the idea of what he was, because it could have been a Deadly Alliance, it could have been Deception, or it could have been all three. The idea is the same. It's the same with his, let's not undersell his response to Bruss post either, because that was the even huger one in my opinion. The MK4 one was like the appetizer, him giving the little cheeky playing coy, I wish I could tell you, because all these characters are probably going to be in the game, and I wish I could say that just up front. But like, that is the bigger, that's the real lead here, is that like, not only should we just be expecting an MK4 character, I think we can expect a good chunk of the characters we're asking for are going to be here. Not all of them, but a good chunk.
Like we said, Brusk's screenshot had like some very specific choices. And
when Mei, Natara, Havoc, and Reiko were the 4.
And those are some of the most requested returning characters. And when your response to those dudes is, yeah, you're in for some good shit.
So my position on Reiko's principled. I think he should come back, even if I'm not the biggest fan. I think he needs to be there. But like, I mean, also, if he doesn't, let's say, the weekend passes and there's no MK4 reveals, like, I'm going to go on with my day, but I'm just stating on a matter of principle, probably best not to tease shit that doesn't happen. That's my stance.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be too busy with Street Fighter 6 to care.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I've already uploaded probably over 8 hours of sets. That's sets. It's not game footage. That's me in a match. So yeah, that's going to be very likely the case. Or I'll be at work.
Anyways. I have to finish Zelda before I touch Street Fighter 6. I know there's no going back. I gotta finish Zelda first.
It's good.
But yes.
So we stated we all gave our stances. So that's all fine. Let's move on to the next one here. So we have Nobody with the $5. I know it's weird. It's a weird thing to gush over, but Melina's stance is so much better than her hunched forward stance in MK11. Somebody posted a picture comparison on Twitter. Her stance is very similar to her Deception stance. Like, very, very close.
I haven't seen that. I'd be interested to.
Can you get that up on screen?
I can certainly try if you guys want to talk.
Okay. There was something I was gonna say like an hour ago, and I forgot.
Was it about Melina?
You know what? I'll skip ahead to the next super chat. So from Booker for $5. Thank you, Booker. His question is: are we sure that Scorpion is Hanzo? That's the neat thing. We're not.
We don't know who anyone is right now except Raiden and Liu Kang and Johnny and Kenshi.
Bi-Han, Scorpion could be Kuai Liang. Scorpion and Sub-Zero could both be completely new people with different names we've never heard before. If him and Sub-Zero are brothers, then they're not the same.
It could be two dudes named Buck.
We have no idea which one is who.
Although I'll say that I kind of get Bi-Han vibes. I was going to say this about an hour ago, too, actually. I get Bi-Han vibes from Sub just from the voice a little bit. I don't know if that's just me.
He does seem a little, I don't know, like...
gruff.
A little angrier.
Yeah.
A little quicker to, like, that bit where he loses his patience when Kung Lao was throwing the hat at him and stuff like that. That does seem more of a Bi-Han than a Kuai Liang, but... That doesn't necessarily mean it. His name could be like Joe Hazashi, brother of Hanzo, you know? Who knows if they're both Chinese or both Japanese? Like their ethnicities have to change if they're brothers.
Yeah. And I think we've established now that they're both wearing Lin Kuei insignias, right?
Yeah. Scorpion's chest pin is also the Lin Kuei logo.
That would imply that they're probably both Chinese.
In theory, it could be that what happened is the Shirai Ryu, instead of being founded, a branch of the Lin Kuei was founded in Japan instead.
Maybe.
One never really knows.
God, what if Kuai Liang is Scorpion? That'd be so fucking bizarre.
Well, so is Scorpion secretly a cryomancer then? How does that work for their powers if they're related?
Cats and dogs living together. I'm not ready to have this conversation.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That is strange, isn't it? So could Scorpion in theory find the cryo armor and become more powerful? That has some really weird implications. Could Scorpion train Frost? I don't.
If they're related, either their powers come from somewhere different than the previous timeline, or Scorpion could potentially make ice. And that's weird.
I want you to consider very carefully what you're saying, because you're implying that the ultimate form of both Scorpion and Sub-Zero is in fact Mortal Kombat 1 Reptile here.
The ultimate form of Scorpion is another Sub-Zero.
Well, actually, I just thought of this. I just thought of this right now. I promise you I've never thought of it before. Hear me on this, Razor. What if Kano kills Scorpion? And that's how Scorpion gets his fire powers. And then he comes back and kills Kano. And then Kano becomes Noob Saibot.
I knew it was coming.
What if? Dude, what if?
And then the NetherRealm would have too many rich Divisios.
I
feel bad. I've repeated so many jokes on this podcast because I've made all these jokes before. These
are you ready for Rich Divisio to work for Rich Divisio?
I would love a conversation between Rich Kano and Rich Quan Chi. It'd be wonderful. We could get Rich Baraka down in there if we kill that guy off too. I mean, he wore the Cabal mask, so let's just a whole Rich Divisio party.
They did a bit with that in 11. Baraka, Kano, and Cabal had Quan Chi Combat League skins because they were all Rich Divisio.
You know what though? I'm loving how like Kano Saibot is our new running gag. Everyone just forgot about that for years and years. Then we started having our streaming nights, and now like Shadow Kano is the funniest fucking thing.
All right, I put it in the chat. Here's going to be on the stream as well.
Yes, back to Melina's stances.
So you can see, and I don't know if this is her base stance in the video. I can't remember if this is something she's doing while she's waiting for like the cameo, but you can see they're very close and just general.
Vaguely similar. It's basically her back hand is up towards her chin and her front hand is hanging down.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a cool comparison.
What was her stance in MK11 again? What did that look like?
I guess it was hunched forward like like a
Yeah,
Hulk or
I'm looking at
something.
it. I'm looking at it right now. She's kind of like leaning forward slightly, and she's holding both sides with murderous intent. And yeah, you know what? I was always when I think of Melina stances, I always default back to MK2 with like the hand clenched up behind the head, the other hand forward. From Deception into this, it's actually kind of a natural evolution. They just kind of like had her holding size all the time.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a fan of this. This is more in line with the Melina stances that I like.
Yeah, there's something about Melina's stance in 11 where she's like almost doing a come at me, bro. Like her hands are just kind of like bent at the elbows and up at her side.
Yeah.
Like run at me, we're gonna tackle each other.
All right, do we have another one? Or is it all the super chats?
Nope, that's it for now. So, yeah, man, I'm just. So where are you at in terms of excitement level, Shad? I know you had some things you liked, some things you're cautious about, and whatnot. Where are you at just overall now that you've seen this?
If I had to rate my hype levels, because remember, hype is a difficult thing for you to feel as you age, as we all do, as I'm now an old man, I suppose. You build up certain expectations. You either expect good things in some departments, you expect bad things in other departments. But I will say, I have much less reservations about the game than I thought I was going to at this point. I'm mostly very intrigued, very excited, and very, very, like I said at the start of this, cautious. My hype levels, if you will, are a solid 7.5 out of 10. Cool. It's gonna be strange, I think, is the operative word. Like I said this on Twitter a couple of weeks back, the hardest part about this game for me is going to be the fact that some characters I know and I love will change.
Right.
You know? The problem I have with MK11 Sindel is not necessarily the fact that she is evil. It's the fact that they went, this version of Sindel was always evil. How does this make any sense? And if there's anything I can't stand, it's the thought of being told everything you know is wrong. But if you tell me everything you know is different, or is going to be different, if you tell me in advance you're going to do that, I don't really have much of a problem. It's just going to be strange for me to get used to it.
Right.
The one really weird thing I'm thinking about today is just how pleasant and nice Outworld seems. Because it's the antithesis of what I love about Outworld.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think whoever the villains are will come in and paint some of this pristine beauty with their, dark evilness.
I totally want Onaga or Havoc to walk through a portal and just have Mr. Blue Sky start playing Electric Light Orchestra as everything goes to shit. They'll be my heroes.
like I want to see the bad guy walk into the living forest and it turns from this into the regular living forest.
Just Havoc doing pirouettes and like the grass is changing beneath his feet as he does this beautiful ballet, spreading chaos behind him.
I mean, there's also the other direction too. I mean, Havoc could end up being in a good capacity, and he's calling Liu Kang a fascist. I think that could be fun too.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting. See all this nice shit? It's cute, but it's wrong.
Speaking of seeing this, do you guys seeing little baby Groot's face over here? Because I totally get that.
Yeah, there's
I wonder if that's like actually what that's supposed to be, or if that's just a funny angle given it that appearance.
Yeah.
I had a dark thought too, because what if there is still a stage fatality in the living forest, but you have to like force the guy into the tree because it doesn't want to eat him, and it's just traumatized?
Come on, you stupid tree, wake up! Chew your food.
And the tree's like, stop!
I don't want this. Spits you
Under
out.
this mask is old man. I said, take off the goddamn mask. It's a mask, right?
Tree starts throwing up, and then Bo runs on the screen, and he starts throwing up. He throws up when other people throw up. Yeah,
that's a nice digital watch from the '90s. Striker is wearing. Did you catch that?
So, go back.
What? Oh, yeah. Let me.
Striker's watch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
So I did want to say, like, even if I don't like the story, I've said before, there are things I don't like in 9X and 11, but there were still stuff that I felt like you could take that and you could like this is a really nice stage. I'd like to see more fan art of this. I'd like to see that incorporated into like this fan fiction or this retelling of the old timeline. You could have Kotal be there somewhere in the background. He'd be like, when he was Koatal rather than Kotal Khan, but he could still be there and that kind of thing. So like with this, it's like, even if I don't like it, dude, Johnny's penthouse, you can use that for other stuff. You could use the imagery of, like I said, we've never, outside of the Pyramid of Argus stuff, we've never had a playable stage set in Edenia. And now we have that nice white marble garden thing with the purple drapes and whatnot, where Catan and Melina are fighting each other. You could use that for other stuff. Like, there's just the how nice it looks and the art assets and the potential ideas that you can mine from something, even if you don't like that thing in and of itself. That still makes it worthwhile to do a game like this.
Right. Yeah. One thing I noticed just now is there's a little Mortal Kombat logo right here on the taser.
Yeah, on his taser.
That's fun. It'd be funny if they put a time on the watch that's like relevant to something, like like the next revealers. I don't know, something silly like that would be kind of funny.
I just want to see animated Sonya's face because it's combat time.
Oh, what I was going to bring up is a sticking point for some people. So, depending which circles you run in or what communities you're in, supposedly there's people out there that really did not like what we see, and they think this looks really bad. They think the graphics are horrible. It looks like way worse than MK11, and it looks cartoony, and so on and so forth. Are you guys feeling that at all?
I don't know where that's coming from, really, because like outside of like Stryker's model is a little less polished,
sure,
and that kind of thing. I don't think. I do think maybe like because one of the reasons Johnny Cage's face might be bothering me is I do feel like it's not quite as good as the face from the last game.
Mm-hmm.
But the vast majority of what I'm seeing here graphically looks at least equal to 11, if not better. And I didn't expect better. Like, I'm an old man and I remember like 8-bit sprites. So when games start looking like MK11, my brain goes, I think we've peaked. This is pretty realistic. Maybe we just stop here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the 14-year-olds who grew up with the PlayStation 3 and 4 are expecting the ceiling of video games to be.
I mean, this looks good to me, so
I said it before. Like Razor said, two things are weird to me. Johnny's face, not because it's bad, but it's just because it's so blatantly, intentionally different.
Yeah.
That's a different dude. That's not like we fucked up. That's like we're taking this in a separate direction. Looking at Johnny here, I feel the same way as I did when I looked at Johnny, actually, believe it or not, in the Shaolin Monks render for the first time a long time ago. Because he had this kind of like a square jaw thing going on. Johnny in the Shaolin Monks render has always bothered me just a little bit. The costume's fine, but his face looked odd to me. And that's kind of how I feel looking at this. Like, the jawline is just very different. It's a different dude.
Well, right. I would accept it's a different dude, like how Spider-Man in one universe is Tom Holland and in another universe is Tobey Maguire and that kind of thing, because multiverse. If his voice actor wasn't still Bowen, like if they had changed the VA,
that's the really jarring thing. Yeah,
I'd buy the face change more easily. Yeah.
I mean, you know what though? I'm just gonna put shades on it. It's not gonna matter all that much.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, like, lots of Johnnies have looked weird just because he didn't have glasses on, and there was something about his eyes, and he looked more normal when he had the glasses.
Right.
It's also like, and I guess there's a little bit of an elephant in the room. I compared the original trailer to this one, and the lighting is very polished in the reveal. But other than that, the models look largely the same to me, and the background objects look largely the same to me. I do not think the original trailer was a CGI trailer. Now, if someone has some good reason to say that's incorrect, well, it's fine. I'm open to listen to that. But this is largely what we got. It looks mostly the same to me, especially when you look at the match perspective in the original reveal. It largely looks like the same game.
Yeah. I don't think you're far off. Whether it's CGI or not, they don't look that crazy different.
They are close to each other, just because again we've neared the ceiling of graphics where any improvement we make now on that technology is going to be very incremental rather than the leaps that we used to see from generation to generation.
Yeah, CGI trailers used to just completely trump, like, not even close to what you would get in the game. Like, it just looked night and day, to the point where they started saying don't do CGI trailers to announce your game because the actual game itself doesn't look anywhere near that good. Whereas I think Max said it in his reveal trailer reaction. Somebody asked in his chat, asked him like if he thinks the game is going to look that good, and he said he thinks the game's going to look better because a lot of times we're at that stage where the actual game is going to have so many details. And I don't know that I agree or disagree with that analysis, but I mean, back to the original point, this does not look that much like different than what we got in the trailer.
It's the shadowing.
It may not be as highly polished. Shadowing. Yeah, it may not be as highly polished, but like this looks insanely good. So anybody that's saying this looks bad, I just don't agree. I think this looks great. Like, first of all, this isn't finished. This isn't a finished game, first of all. But second of all, because we don't know how old this footage is, these kind of presentations are not made yesterday. Like this is something they probably already were polishing up a month ago, if not sooner. This is not, you got to get something like this ready to go well in advance because God forbid something go wrong and everything just starts falling apart. You have a presentation to do. You can't just get this done the week before. So we don't know how old the footage is, first of all. But also, like, this looks really good. I just, like, and even as a topper to all of this, like, graphics aren't everything. Like, this looks good enough.
Yeah,
like
I've
whether it's
I've
the
never
best
been
looking
like
game.
a guy who's chasing the highest frame rate and resolution. I think that stuff is silly. Like the meat and potatoes of the game experience is going to be in the gameplay, the storytelling.
Yeah, like
the graphics are like a distant third place to the things that actually like make a game a game.
Right.
On that
I'm probably
note,
in the middle of that. I will say more, Shed.
Well, I was about to go off on a separate tangent because I thought we were done talking about graphics.
Well, I was just gonna say yeah.
Go ahead, Sam.
No.
You're on the subject.
To close it out. So the thing is, you're unlikely ever going to make a game as good as Third Strike or as philosophically sound as MK9. So for a new game, the graphics are going to probably be the most important selling point. So I do feel like you have to get that right, but I do agree that graphics don't make gameplay good, but I do think they are really important, though. I do think graphics go a long way. But yeah, so I'm probably in between those two viewpoints.
That being said, before Shad goes to his point, so what is your stance on this? Do you think this looks good? Like, do you feel like those complaints that people saying this looks bad or too cartoony, or some people have just said it looks like straight Injustice and not enough Mortal Kombat? Now, I can get the complaints that, like you were mentioning earlier, people maybe their outfits look a bit clean. But then again, like, to that idea of they look too clean, they don't look grimy and dirty enough to people that are actually fighting. Let's go back to the counter argument. How annoying was it when everybody's attires were all muddied up and nobody looked like colorful and fun?
I've never liked the battle damage stuff from 9 and X.
Nope.
All right, even in the 3D era where you could bruise people's faces, I've never wanted that. I've always wanted the option to turn it off.
Yeah, you go back to the original Mortal Kombat's 1, 2, 3, like everybody was shiny and new. And yeah, maybe because of the graphical fidelity now, it looks a little bit different. You lose some of that contrast, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that the complaints are unfounded. I don't agree with it. I feel like this looks really good, but go ahead, Tom.
Well, I guess to answer your question, it's not that I think it looks bad. I don't agree with them in that respect, but the contrast is really jarring when a cameo shows up. When you see like Tide commercial Kano, like it next to like modern Liu Kang, the contrast is just stark. But I don't care. Like that's the thing. I don't care.
Contrast.
I don't mind it myself. I think it's fine. But I can see why people were surprised, is what I mean.
I think that's the core issue, is that either some of those models like Striker may not be all the way there, or that they could go an extra step, because I worry that they made them stand out a little bit too much to emphasize the hokey 90s spandex look. And I think that they could put a bit of effort into making them look slightly more grounded, blend in a bit more with the atmosphere.
Sure.
If you actually want, here's a criticism that's been on our minds for quite some time now, and there is one thing I feel like it's not going away, and it feels like we're still in store for some really, really long fatality or super animations that we may or may not get sick of. I am
fatal
concerned
blows,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm already on record from the past videos saying that I'm only going to use the Kameo's fatalities.
Yeah, Kameo fatalities seem to be like the classic fatalities. Kano comes in, does the heart rip. Sub-Zero slides in, does the spine rip, and that's it. Like, it's just a classic quick fatality. So I feel like it still has the cinematic element, but it's not over the top. So I think from that angle, the cameos are going to be doing all sorts of like cool shit, and just use the cameo versions if you prefer those. I feel like that's almost like a catering to those who've felt that way.
If it's like 5 seconds or whatever, okay. I don't want a return of like the fatal blows where everything is going on for like 12 or 13 or 15 seconds. I also don't want to be sitting there with a stopwatch. I don't want to be looking at my sandwich or looking at my watch. I'm worried about that.
Even Street Fighter 6 has that problem. I'm already kind of tired of the level 3s.
Yeah. Fighting games need momentum, man. And that kills it. So that's my actual nitpick.
I just do Cammy's level 2 over and over again because animated movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, anything else?
Yeah, no, I mean that was that. But
have there been any other? Did we read the super chat from Kolbs? Did we do that one?
Which one was that?
It was the most recent one.
Let me double check. I thought we did. Oh no, we haven't. So Kolbs, $5. What would your top 3 main roster character designs so far? Who would they be? As a Katana fan, and I do like her design, I know not everyone does. Smiley face. So, top 3 favorite designs so far that you've seen. So, of the ones that we've seen, which ones do you like the most? Tep, what do you got? If you don't like 3 of them, just okay. Then
just main roster, not the cameos.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at some pictures right now.
I like I think I like just about everything I've seen Kung Lao in.
Mm-hmm.
I like the orange, especially on Raiden.
Right.
The monk robes. And I like Kenshi's primary, like the select screen one with the blindfold.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love that one. For me, I'd go Kenshi's my number 1. I love just everything I've seen from him. I think it looks great. I'm excited for this Kenshi. Second, I like the more simple ninja designs. I hope we'll have like more mask options, but in general, I like just kind of the return to just more simple cloths. I know, like in the announced trailer, Razor, you mentioned like the lines and whatnot, but I think in gameplay and practice, you don't actually notice that level of detail as much. So to me, it just still reads like a classic ninja design, just modernized.
Yeah,
so I mean, like those.
The lines aren't so bad. My main complaint is just I wish their hair wasn't out.
Yeah, and like I said, I would imagine we're gonna get attires for that type of stuff. And then third, I like this Liu, actually. I really do like this Liu Kang. I think he looks really good here. As like a fire god Liu Kang, they could have gone in so many different directions, or they could have just kept it fairly simple and straightforward, and I think they did the latter, which I appreciate. They didn't like go above, I wouldn't say above and beyond, but they didn't go over the top, like trying to completely change up the Liu as we know. Like, this feels very much still Liu Kang. So I'll go with that as my number 3.
Well, I like that because, like, at the end of 11, he had adopted some of Raiden's color scheme. I like that his pants are back to black and red, but I wish he had kept the gray hair or white, which like there was sort of a sense of like when you become a god, your hair is white. Like Fujin has it, that weird Kenshi skin from X had it.
Right.
Like, I just wish that was a lore thing that if you're god, you have white hair.
Right. All right, Shad.
Tricky. I've loved both Scorpion and Sub-Zero's extremely streamlined look. Minus maybe the man buns. Yuck, yuck. But I'm a huge fan of how, like, parallel the designs seem to each other, how close they are. They're still kind of taking it from me, but a very close second. And I don't know if it's just because I've wanted it for so long, but it's so nice to be able to actually play as a guy in a Shaolin monk's outfit. A Shaolin monk in a Shaolin monk's outfit. So that goes to Raiden, definitely.
Right.
As an aside, I said in the Discord that if this character did not turn out to be a great Kung Lao who becomes Raiden, I would have to eat a rice hat. I now have to eat a rice hat, apparently. More to come in the Discord. Join us, won't you? Third
I
place.
eat a lot of shoes. I can give you tips.
By all means.
I think I ate a newspaper one time.
Did you do it on stream though? How do we have? Is there any proof?
I mean,
I felt the proof.
This is how English breakfasts work, right? They put their fish in a newspaper and then they eat the whole thing. Yes. I'm just saying that's pretty common.
I'm not English.
That's what makes it English.
I mean, American. We don't eat newspaper here.
They're at least consuming the ink, yes?
I hope so.
Yeah.
My third place is actually Kenshi. Kenshi looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
Easily.
All right, Tim. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tim.
So I'm going to cheat not once but twice here. My first and second are both Kenshi. My number one is Kenshi in the business suit. I think that looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was very smart because they know what kind of imagery that conjures when you show Kenshi in that outfit, and it worked perfect. It worked on me because like immediately I was in a foreign film when I saw that.
Right.
So / Yakuza game. But yeah, it looks really good. I think it fits Kenshi. I hope Kenshi is a little more likable in game. We will see. I just love the red and black on Kenshi in his primary. It just looks like a Kenshi costume, and I love Kenshi. Even though it doesn't always seem that way, but that's mostly because of the hierarchy of 3D era characters. I still really like Kenshi. He's my favorite blind guy ever. Kenshi's great, and he looks really good in his primary as well. So that's gonna be my number two. Number three is I'm going to cheat again, and I'm going to say Jax. I think Jax looks spectacular.
He does.
Yeah,
look really good.
Really, really good. But some people are not going to have. What's that?
I should have probably specified that when I said Kenshi, my choice is main Kenshi with the coat going on. I really love it.
Which is a great choice. I think it looks fantastic. I love the red. I think color looks really good in this game for the most part. There's a couple exceptions, but if people don't like the Kameo answer, believe it or not, I'm going to actually say Raiden. I think Raiden looks interesting. Yeah. I don't know if it's great, but it's like, man, this is kind of refreshing.
Are you going Monk Raiden here or a little bit later when he's more like with the gray?
More traditional, like reveal trailer Raiden is what I was thinking. The Monk looks good too, though. But it's just it's a lot of orange, man. It's a ton of orange.
Well, there's also... In the tea house cutscene stuff at the very beginning, when Kung Lao is fighting Sub-Zero and whatnot, Raiden is there too, and he's also in street clothes like Kung Lao is.
Yeah,
he's not wearing the straw hat, I don't think.
Look at this drunk guy back here on the cowboy hat. What's going on over there? Right behind Raiden. That guy is that man is drunk.
Why is Bo Raicho not sitting at the bar when you have a stage that has a bar?
Who knows? All right, that is that. I think this is a good time to get wrapping up. This is about what we were expecting to cover. Anybody have any last minute things? I guess Night Track's coming with the $2 last minute here. This makes me wish we got a 2v2 game instead. You know, maybe who knows if they do an expansion, like they did with Aftermath or XL, where maybe they'll add.
This is like a tech test, see where if they can get to 2v2 and MK13,
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, all of us want tags, so no disagreement
I don't think it's
here.
out of the question just yet. I have a feeling.
Cool. Alrighty. And on that note, unless anybody has anything else to add to here, we covered all of this between the stream earlier and this now. We've covered this quite extensively, so hopefully we'll be getting more details. I want to know more. I think we're all in the same kind of boat of at least wanting to know more, which is a good sign. You always want them to want more. Yeah, so I'm excited for anything else that we might learn tomorrow or throughout the weekend, be it any more character reveals or whatever.
We're gonna do another one next week, covering what we've learned since the time being? Or
yeah,
I mean, if there's supposed to be more stuff over the weekend, then we'll have something to talk about, yeah.
If they reveal Reiko tomorrow night, we just do an emergency session, we're all agreed, yeah? Yeah.
It's totally up to you guys, and we'll talk about that off air, and we'll keep everybody abreast of anything that's
tomorrow. If they're going to reveal anything, they better save it for Saturday.
Well, either way, we're going to still try and stay on top of anything one way or another, be it podcast form, video form, or talk about it during our live streams. We'll definitely be discussing it. So yeah, don't you worry on that front. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll be talking to you very soon. Take care.
See you later, nerds.
Have a nice day.